All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Tiffany Lee, and we're so happy to have all of you here this evening. At this training, we are spending time talking about trackers and then time management tips and just tips for success in general. Those were some questions that we had this week, so I wanted to review them. So first is tracking. How many of you guys are struggling with trackers? Do good with trackers? Tell me in the chat. Are you pretty good with tracking?
I have so many trackers, I lose track of my trackers.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And that's really doing really good. Yes, 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 yes. So the thing is tracking is key in this business, honestly. So, we have to track our parties, who we talk to. I mean, there's a party tracker in step number one, right? Track our messages because it gets lost in the messenger. And then you want to track like customer follow-ups. Like if you're supposed to follow up with somebody, if you don't write it down or you don't put it somewhere, you're going to forget about them. And that's not good customer service, right? So there's so many parts to the business. Now I will tell you, Luann, the one that loses track of her trackers is I do have a few people on our team that use a 5 subject notebook and uses each one, like one for booking, one for recruiting, one for, their parties. And that way it's all in one notebook. So that way you can keep them all there. But there's a lot of different things. If you're an electronic person, I'm going to show you some of those trackers. You could have tabs at the bottom for each one of them, for each way. But tonight we're going to talk specifically about tracking messages, since that seems to be the part that most people are struggling. So you can use paper or electronic format. I'm going to share my screen and show you two pictures. Let me see if I can share it. Oh, Luann already did that. Look, great minds think alike. All right. So these are like examples of two different trackers, like by paper. Okay. So it doesn't have to be fancy. So I think people overthink it and they want to think it has to be some fancy tracker, and it doesn't. Now, the one on the right is what I do. Okay. So I literally write their name down, write their dates, and write any notes beside them. When I follow up, I check them off. And if they say yes to book, I turn them green. If red or the pinkish is no, never, and then any orange, and then sometimes I'll use yellow, it'd be as following up. But my goal is to have a color on every list, on every line. Okay. Now the one on the left is how I used to do it as well, and it works just as good. But you just have columns. So I know some people have said, like, I just need columns so I know what I'm looking at. And so that's not all on one line. So you can always take a ruler and make, name, date, the way you contacted them, did, 48-hour follow-up column, and then follow-up or booked. You know what I mean? And so those are two options. For paper. And I've put the blurry background so you guys can see mine, but so this is mine. And so, like I said, like I turn them different colors. And it really just depends on what works for you. I've tried so many trackers since 2018, but I just go back to the good old notebook. Like that's really what I don't know. It's just what I do well with, I guess. Now you can have electronic trackers, and I'll show you those. We have those as options as well. But like this one right here is for your outreaches. So you have your name, your host, the date that you sent the message, how you sent it. Did you text them? Did you do Facebook Messenger? Any information you need to know about them, and did you follow up? Did they book? That kind of thing. So that's one option, and then the other one's a little bit more advanced, but it's a lot. It's the one I used to use when I was trying to do electronic, and it works good. But what I found is that I just like to see it, and I like to physically take the highlighter and like go across. I don't know, I'm just a little bit weird, but this is a tracker that you can use. It has the consultant booking words, and any of these are on Google Sheets. You can actually make a copy of. If you go to File, Make a Copy. And then that way you can edit like your name and all that stuff. But essentially you just write their name, how you contacted them, the date, and did they respond? Did they not respond? And when you do the 48-hour follow-up, you can click on the box and check it off. Their response after you followed up with them. Do you need to follow up with them at a certain time? And then, or did they book? and I would highlight, each one different colors. Now you could do the text, or I just say if you're going to do a tracker, is figure out some system that will, when you look at it, will tell you which one's booked and which ones you need to follow up on. So like either turn their text a different color or highlight them or do something that works for you. But this one also at the bottom has tabs where you can track your shows, track your recruit leads. So like, it also even has a team tracker for those that, going for a director that automatically calculates it for you. So this one's a little bit advanced, but is definitely an option. And then we even have our objections document in it. So those are two like paper and then two electronic. You'll see a little bit of a variation depending on who it is. Some people print the sheets and actually put them in a notebook. And so that way it's kind of like half and half, right? It's kind of, you have the actual printed document, but you can have it in your hand. So that's an option as well. So the thing is when I first started my business, I did great at first, right? And then I kind of dwindled a little and I struggled and I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, I'm doing all the things. I'm sending all the messages. Like, why is this not working for me? Is it not for me? Like, I literally had those thoughts. So I spoke with my director, Donna, and she asked me if I was tracking my messages. So I started to, but then I fell out of practice of doing it. Because in my mind, I was like, I'll be honest, I'm transparent with you guys. In my mind, I was like, that takes too much time. And I could just go down and go through my messenger and find the people. Yeah, no, that don't work. But, I also wasn't following up like I should because I wasn't tracking them like I was supposed to. So the moment I changed and started tracking and making it a habit, now this is something that you have to actively think, let me get my tracker out and let me do it. And once you do it enough times, you start to build a habit. Now, they do say it takes about 30 days to build a habit. So you might struggle at first to remember your tracker, but if the more you do it, the easier it will become because you'll start to see the results. And when you start seeing the results, you will be a trackaholic. You're going to be tracking everything. So the thing is once I started doing that and implementing it, my business went to another level. But it's also about consistency, right? So tracking and following up with your customers. So the relationships you build when you're following up and messaging people and taking notes, so when you follow up with them, say they didn't want to book because they're building a house. We'll put that up there. And when you follow up with them in the fall or the spring, say, hey, is your house built? How's your kitchen? Like those little things is what makes people go, wow, she remembers me. Like that was 6 months ago. So that is something that you definitely want to make sure you're doing is making it personal, okay, and building the relationships. So if you're one that started tracking when you started joining with us, was doing well and lost the habit of doing it and now don't, or you don't track and never have, you are leaving so much money on the table for other consultants to grab, and that stops tonight, okay? So you must track your business nobody has a successful business without a way of tracking. You can ask anyone. They don't even have to be in direct sales or network marketing. Like they just have a literal business. I mean, they have a payroll tracker. I mean, this has to happen. Okay. So as far as being business owners, this is something that we definitely need to incorporate into our daily method of operation. And we're going to talk about that. But once you start tracking them, you start seeing those great results. That's when you're going to remember your tracker the most. But like I said, I'm human. And if you have fell off and wasn't tracking like you were supposed to, give yourself grace, okay? Like you're on your journey in your business. And so just get back up on it and try to get your habit back, okay? But I had fallen out of the habit, and it was during one of the hardest times of my business because I was struggling with booking, selling, and recruiting. And that's why this is so crucial to me and like such a fundamental step in our business that I talk about a lot because it is what transformed the business for me, So the thing is I incorporate it into my daily method of operation. And that way I can track everything I need to know, and I can make sure that what I'm tracking, I'm seeing the results. Okay. I'm a paper gal, like you said, but I still carry around my notebook most days, and I have them right with me so that if I have a moment, I like pull it out and I like follow up with people. And so, but whatever method works for you, you can share in the chat if you have another way that works. But pick one and use it. And then you'll find out what you like about it and what you don't like about it. Like, is it too basic or is it too advanced? And you kind of morph into something that works for you. Okay. So, any questions about like trackers or tracking or anything like that? Any questions or any thoughts or tips that you want to share about tracking? Okay.
I do have a question because I know, and I've seen it before, and the only reason I don't do it, you highlight for different colors. I always
Uh-huh.
write out to the side, like if they're no, not never, or maybe, or ask me such and such a time, or whatever. How do you know? Suppose you have one that changes from one color to the other. I mean, do you just rewrite their name and redo it in another color, or what do you, I mean, mine would look like a messy notebook. I mean, coloring book.
You're funny. So if they decide later that they're going to be a book, then I write to the side. So if I did pink highlight and said no, never, and then they come back and say, just joking, I want to book a party, then I write beside them, I'll put books 10/2 or whatever the date is, and then I'll highlight it in green. So like I'll see it on their line. Yeah. Because look, I'm one of those people, you can't put like green over red, it would look ugly. But that's what I do, like if they come back and do that. But I haven't had many do that. But the way I look at it is, for one, I love colors. So like more colors, happier it feels. But the other thing is, it makes me realize like, okay, I do have some greens, so I do get bookings. Even though like half the page is red, I did get bookings. It keeps me motivated. The colors do keep me motivated, and I want to make sure I see a color on every line. So like if I don't, then that's when I follow up with them. And it's sometimes at the end of the day, I'll like send them an e-cookbook just so they'll reply and like let me know either way. And that way, you can have that contact. But that's how I do that. Any other questions? Oh, Annette, that's awesome. So Annette said, if y'all didn't catch that, she had a girl who was starting chemo. She made a note of that in her tracker and followed up when she was going through it. That like sets you apart like crazy. That's awesome. I love it. So next, I'm been asked to speak on time management. Now we have a million different team trainings on time management that you can definitely, we have the recordings. They're on my YouTube channel. We're under guides. But I wanted to just do highlight areas of like my top 10 that like if I had to choose, these are the ones that work the best for myself. So stay focused, listen in, take notes, right? Some of these are going to be like, duh. And then some of them are going to be like, really, Tiffany? But it's not that hard, honestly. So the first thing is have a designated workspace, because time management and productivity just go together. And so I used to sit at the kitchen table to do my business. And then I would have a pile of Pamper Chef. That pile would go to the counter, would go over here, over there to get it out of the way. So then when I tried to work my business and was ready to work it, I couldn't find anything. And I spent time searching for these things, right? And I was not productive at all. And the time that I was using, I was wasting. The best thing I ever did, well, Chris did, was bought a desk, and I'm made a spot in our bedroom because our house isn't that big. And it's now my office space. So nobody else sits here but me. And it has all the things that I need. And so that is something that I want to encourage you. It could be a pop-up desk. Like before I had this desk, those fold-out tables, like poker tables, I literally had one of those in here. And that was my table because I was like, no one else has to put their stuff on it. No one's got to move my stuff. So as long as you can designate an area where you can work your business, and preferably in a room though, like you don't want, that way you can focus. But that was the best thing that ever happened, is making sure you have a workspace. Number 2 is keeping your desk clean because you have 20 minutes and you're trying to work your business, and I can't focus when I have a crazy, like a messy desk. So you can't be productive with all types of papers everywhere, pens over here, highlighters. So you want to make sure that it is straightened so you can be productive. There's actually research behind your body's response to clutter, and how it slows down your reaction time, and it slows down just your body just in general while it's trying to focus on all these things, but you're trying to get it to focus over here. So take 2 minutes and clean up your desk before you sit down and work, and that you will actually manage your time better because you'll do more in a little bit of time. Number 3 is make your to-do list the night before. Okay, so we always talk about the to-do list, right? And I actually have started to make a done list and a to-do list. So when I do things, I like put it on the done list. So by the end of the day, I'm like, yes, I achieved all these things. But at least a to-do list, but do it the night before, because that way you clear your mind, and you don't waste time in the morning because making a list. And we are more productive in the morning. So if you wake up and you're trying to make a list, you've like wasted most of that morning because you're making a list of what you're going to do that day. Okay. So it really depends on my mood, but if you use like a paper and pencil to make your to-do list, I found a free app and I can post it. It's called To-Do List. I mean, it's free. It does have ads every once in a while, but it doesn't bother me when it's free. But you can do a to-do list on your phone, your tablet, or you can write it down. But what it is a brain dump, like seriously. And you can't manage your time when you don't know what the heck you need to be doing, right? And so that is key. That's crucial. And then you obviously, because of that, we're going to prioritize that list because we have but so much time in a day. So we want to rank what tasks we need to be completed first, second, and third based on urgency and needing of being completed. Okay. So, what is those for you? So you would look at your list and say, okay, I have to have this done by tomorrow. This has to be done today. And those I actually will star on mine, and that way I know I need to do those first. But what happens when you prioritize your list is that the time you do have, you maximize it. Okay, because a lot of us have the time, but we don't know what to work on, or we're sitting in that mode where you're just like, what am I supposed to be doing? I can't remember. So doing just these steps right here, having a desk, cleaning it off, and having a to-do list and prioritizing it will set you up for so much success. It is unreal. Getting enough sleep. Y'all laugh at me about my naps, but guys, you cannot manage time or your life or your business without enough sleep. You will work faster and be more productive and be able to think about, oh, I got a pocket of time. Let me do follow-ups. But you have to get enough sleep. And so what happens here is people go, well, I want to stay up. So this is one thing that I learned, and I'm giving you all my trials and errors and all that stuff that I learned in this business. But I used to stay up late. I used to stay up till like 12 o'clock working Pampered Chef. And I realized right quick and in a hurry, and it was right about the time like Miracle Morning when I started doing that, because it said in there that you needed, a certain amount of time to sleep. And if not, your body's deprived and it can't get enough, oxygen, all the things. And so I realized though, if I go to bed early and I get up earlier, I get so much more done than I did between 10 and 12 staring at the computer. It is crazy. And I feel much better. So you have to get sleep. So definitely self-care, okay? Because prioritizing productivity and time management just goes together. But this is the big deal. This is the chunk right here is focus. So you have your time frame, right? Your schedule, and you have these pockets of time. So I want you guys to think about, are you using them for income producing tasks? So ask yourself, is the task that you're doing going to move you forward in your business? If the answer is no, then delegate it or get rid of it. Because the income producing task in your business is what we want to be focusing on when we have limited time, right? Because those tasks are what's going to push our business forward. And so those are like booking messages, follow-ups, commenting, posting videos, following the VP system, like the things that you need. Like you need more bookings to have a business, right? You need more bookings to have recruits. You need customers to follow up on to build relationships. Like, so all of these things are income producing. So those are like, you must do, right? But if you find yourself like twirling in Facebook groups, looking at slides, making Canva, like if you're doing those things, do an audit. Look at your day and say, what did I do today? And go through. And I bet you'll find time where you were not doing what you should be doing. You were just like, you might have been scrolling. You could have been watching TV. Guys, I don't watch TV anymore. Like we literally don't. We just cut the cable off because I don't have time for that. And I want to have business that's successful versus watching TV. So, but you know, it doesn't matter about the TV. Like if you watch it, that's fine. But just think about these little idle times that you can take and you can change it into that time being your business, right? And the thing there is, you know, we get tied up trying to do all the things, which much of it is not that we're like needed. Okay. So just make sure you're focusing on income producing tasks. Number 7 is using a daily method of operation tracker. So a DMO. And I've posted our tracker. I've showed y'all my tracker. I could grab it. I forgot to get it out, but it's in my agenda. But, you know, each day, essentially, you write out those income producing activities and then have the days of the week at the top. And then wherever you are, you can pull out that tracker and you can check off the things as you complete them. And this way you could fit it throughout your day, but you know, you're doing the task that's going to help your business grow. So if you struggle with a block schedule and you struggle with just all the things, please know that the schedule is flexible. So if you block have a blocked schedule, it doesn't mean that at 12 o'clock your kid needs something and you had something planned to work your business in there. You just switch those blocks of time. But if you are struggling with it, the biggest thing to start with is like figuring out what blocks of time you do have, and then pull out a tracker with these income producing tasks on them and do as many as you can as fast as you can. Okay. And the biggest thing when you have a little bit of time is don't spend all your time on one thing. So, we have pillars in our business. We have bookings, sales, and recruiting, right? And so we need to touch all three of the pillars to have a balanced business and have a business that's growing. So if you only focus on just bookings, don't do anything else that night, then yeah, you might get a couple bookings, but your parties might be slacking or something else over here might be slacking off. So what I do if I have a limited time is I will do I'm just giving you numbers, but like 5 booking messages, 5 follow-up messages and comments, like a little bit, sprinkle it out a little bit. Okay. And you'll actually see like more momentum that way. But that way you're kind of touching all the places that's going to help your body or your business get better. Number 8, turn off all notifications when working your business. Yes, and any distractions. So the best thing about my desk being in my bedroom is I get to lock the door. It's the most awesome thing. But finding the time so that you're not distracted and shutting off notifications, because our business is on social media. And I'm sure you guys get stuck in the scroll, or you see a story and you click it and you want to see it and you want to watch it. So I actually downloaded and I posted it a while back, but it's a Chrome extension. It's called Undistracted. It's free, but it actually hides your Facebook so that you aren't distracted. And I'll show it to you real quick how it works. Let me get to the main screen. Okay, well, all right, here you go. So I put it as a Chrome extension. So it's up here on the right-hand corner. And so just like, it's an extension, just like the automated reminders is. And I have a video on how to find it and everything. But when you click on it, move all this so I can see it. All right, so I'm going to click Facebook. So I can actually hide the feed. I can hide stories. I can hide the marketplace so I don't have to go buy anything. I can hide everything, y'all, like seriously. And you see, like there is no feed, there's no stories up here for me to be distracted, but I can get to all my parties and I can do all the things without having all that in my face, because I'm forever looking at their stuff, right? And so if you take it away, then you don't have to worry about it distracting you. And it is free. And I'll post the video. How many of you guys use it since I posted it? Let me know. Okay, there's a lot of different apps, but that's the first one I've been able to find that you can actually turn off certain things, you know what I mean? And not just all of it at one time. But that is something that I love. The other thing you can do is put your phone like in airplane mode so that you don't get notifications. You can actually turn notifications off in your settings, so that you don't get notified. That's a little extreme, but if you just wanted to stop it, shut it off while you're doing your work, then put your phone in airplane mode, because nothing will come through and you can focus. I do have video too on how to turn off your notifications on Facebook, so that everything's not popping up every 2 seconds. Facebook's designed for us to get our attention. So it's a struggle when we have a direct sales company or network marketing, whatever you want to call it, on social media, because we have all these things popping up and we want to go click on them to see who commented on that or who did this. So if you find that those pop-ups distract you, if you go to settings in Facebook, you can actually turn them off so that you're not notified. So those are a little bit of tips. And then number 9 is learn to say no. Isn't that funny? So you're probably like, what? So, we are like, yes, 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 people, right? And when we say yes to something, we say no to something else. So the first thing I did when I was struggling with time management, and y'all know I'm busy, so I have to figure this out if I want a business. And so I looked at what I did each week, and I realized like what I could care less about. Like, what do I not need to do? Or what's taking most of my time? And if I could get rid of it, I got rid of it. And it was the most freeing thing ever. It was amazing. But the other thing is that freed up time is what allowed me to work my business. But when people ask you to do something, this is what I do for myself. I ask myself, is this going to move me closer to my goals? Just your goals, your life goals, your business goals, whatever goal that is. Like, is what you're going to do going to move you closer to that goal? And guys, if the answer is no, then I say no. Simple as that. I have learned this. And at first you don't want to say no, because you're like, oh, I don't want to be that way. I want to help everybody. But at the end of the day, if you're doing a little bit for everybody, you ain't going to have no time. So look at what you do each week and see like what there is. And if you have a busy life schedule like we do, like we have dance and all these things, you can find pockets of time to work your business. Like when I drop Madeline off at dance, I can sit in my car and work the business. When she has softball practice, I can sit in the car while they're doing it. I don't have to be staring at her. And she wouldn't even know if I was there anyway. So those are times where you can do it. Waking up a little bit earlier. I know a lot of you guys have been able to fit in your business in pockets of time throughout the day. But I promise, if you actually look at your schedule and see if there's something that you don't necessarily have to do or someone else can do it, then those are the situations that you should be able to say, okay, you know what? So-and-so can do it instead of me. So I'm just going to bless and release that. And that's going to open up available space. Okay. If you struggle with this part, just let me know and I can help you. The last one is my favorite. It's automate anything you can. So as we know, Project Broadcast does the automated text messages. Before then, you can actually schedule text messages in your phone and they can be sent at a certain time later. Online grocery pickup. Not only does that save you time from having to go into the store, but you save money too. So that's like a win-win right there. Doing automated reminders, with our parties and Facebook. So you're doing something, you can work something else with your business while it's doing automated reminders. So you're kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. You can use text replacement on the phone and computer. And I have it set up for a few things, but if you realize you're typing the same sentence over and over and over, then look into text replacement. So basically you would set it up where this is my sentence I want to say. And so you just say, okay, when I type .you, this whole sentence is going to pop up. right? So if you find that you're typing a lot of the same things, then you might want to look into text replacement, because in 2 clicks, you can put that sentence in there. So if you realize like customers reply back to you and you say the same thing, like, let me know if you or anyone you know need any Pampered Chef, those kind of words, then those are perfect for text replacement, because they're 2 seconds and it would be easy and to go. Listening. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not able to be on the calls and I have problems listening to recordings. Guys, I do it in my car. Even personal development audibles is how I do it. Or if you're at a gym, or if you're just doing dishes, like put earbud in one of them. Like I do it. I put in one, I can hear the kids in the other, and I listen. And so those are things that you can do to implement it into your life, and doesn't even affect anyone else. You're still out there and you're doing dishes, but you're learning at the same time. Or like Faith, she's cooking and has this staged in her kitchen. The next one is taking your lunch to work, if you work, to save time from having to go out for lunch, and it also saves you money. But you can use the time that you would have went out to lunch and use it for your business. Okay. Using apps that you can order ahead of time. So if you are a person that, likes to eat out, then if you're going to do it at any pace, do it, like order it and then go pick it up. Okay. And that way you're not having to go there, wait, all that stuff. So, and my favorite is Starbucks app. So I love it. I enter it and then I just go to Starbucks, walk in front of everybody, grab my drink and walk back out. And they all look at you like, what just happened? It's the best thing ever. You can automate your refills on your medicines, y'all. Do you know that saves you a couple minutes from having to call the pharmacy to refill your own medicines? Just get them automated. Y'all are going to laugh, but this is my favorite. But is like when it comes to cleaning, I love our robot vacuum, because you can set a time and it just starts vacuuming on its own. It saves me time. I don't have to go tell it to do anything, or I don't have to walk around with the actual vacuum cleaner. So those are things that saves you time. And you're probably laughing at some of these, but guys, we could go on and on. Okay. But the biggest thing when it comes to managing time is use Pampered Chef parallel with your daily life. So, you're cooking, so take a few pictures. Don't think of Pampered Chef and your personal life as separate. They should work together, because this is a family business. And so like your family should be involved, they're eating your food that's from Pampered Chef products. Those are things, if you can incorporate your family, then that helps you in all types of areas, you know what I mean? But I think a lot of us think of, I can't, I'm only working Pampered Chef, I can't do this at the same time. And you can, because most of the things we do, except for the party part, you can do while you're doing your daily life. And then the last one I thought about, which is honestly one I think I'm gonna be getting soon, is hiring a cleaning lady. So you don't have to. And a lot of people, I've asked a survey about this actually, and I am surprised at work how many people have somebody comes cleans their house. And if you do, tell me in the chat, because I have been so shocked. I'm like, this is actually a business like that's booming. But think about, the biggest thing here is think about your schedule and what does suck your time. Like, what is the time sucker? And so, and if you can figure out like how you can make that faster, better, or work around, let me know. I have coached a few of you guys through this and you're getting amazing results. And so if you do struggle with this, really struggle with it, I want to help you, because, that way you can have a business that you're excited about and that you have time to work and, get and hit your goals and do all the things that you want to do. But I could keep going. Like I said, this is like I love time management, managing time. But, I hope that you guys grab something that, you can implement in your business. The biggest thing is having a daily list, a to-do list, and you make it the night before, doing income producing tasks, and then doing something for your business every day and giving yourself grace. Because not every day do I rock time management. There's days where I'm not that great at it, but majority of the time I do well, right? But that's because some days are easier, some days are harder, but at the end of the day, I make sure to do something for the business, right? So what